All right, it is Monday, October 19th or Tuesday, October 20th. And we did a lot last week. Again, Distance Learning Day was on Wednesday the 14th, no school, 15-16, so there was no Google Meet. And on the 14th, you were pretty much reading your 20 pages, documenting your reading in the independent reading folder for tracking 20 pages a day and working on your reading sheet number 1. On the Monday, Tuesday last week, you were reading chapter 7 in Coach Carter, reviewed chapter 6. We started vocab set 2, which of course is in the vocab area in your binder. I also share those with you on Schoology in the vocab folder for set 2. So reading warm-ups have been graded recently, as well as vocab set 1. We had a quiz as well. So, and those words were graded and corrected. So let's look at today. You should be working on the warm-ups for pages 82 through 88. So you can go to that area in your binder, so 82 through 88. And let's do these together at this time. So open your binder to warm-up area, pages 82 through 88. It says, match the italicized vocab word with the closest definition or synonym. So if a marching band is striking up a rousing tune to energize the crowd, rousing. For rousing, I want to just make sure that I hadn't already asked you to do this. Yes. Okay, so you did already do page 82 through 88, so I need to fix this. I thought that I had already talked about this. So now you're working on 89 through 95. Okay, so starting over, Coach Carter's team has been successful for several reasons. What do you think has most contributed to their success as a team? Explain your thinking. So I want you to use complete sentences and say, their success as a team is because, 1, Coach Carter works them very hard. 2, they've learned what it feels like to work hard and win. 3, they're very persistent. And so that hard work pays off, okay, or they're determined. So I want you to come up with 3 things of Coach Carter's team being successful for several reasons and what's contributed to that. Okay, so take a couple minutes at this time to finish pages 89 through 95 in the warm-up. Once you finish that, you can work on set 2 vocabulary words while you're waiting. Okay, so you're just finishing the warm-up, and then you are working on vocab set 2 if you have time. Okay, I'm going to move on at this time. So you should have finished the pages 89 through 95 warm-up. Okay, now you can close your binder and get out your Coach Carter book. Remember, we've been working on the prediction strategy. So you think about, what do you predict? What are the clues that lead you to believe in that prediction? And then how can you prove that your prediction is correct or not? So then you read on to find out. So you should be applying the prediction strategy to your own book at home while you're reading. That's an active reading strategy to help you understand what you're reading, okay? So it's been a little while since you've read. So I'm going to recap chapter 7 since it's been several days or a handful of days. So in chapter 7, Kyra gets tickets for her and Kenyon for the dance. So she's all excited about it and runs up to him. Kenyon is second guessing being a dad and has hopes for college now because the coach had talked to him like, hey, you could do so much. And now he's like, oh, I got this baby. But he didn't want to tell the coach. Kyra gets mad and she throws the dance tickets at him and walks away. Junior Battle's mom comes to talk with Coach about Junior possibly getting to go to a junior college. So she wants him to get to play. So she says, get him off the bench. I know that he walked out on the team. He was upset, but he needs to play. She goes on to tell about losing her son and how it's been hard on herself as well as Junior Battle. Carter understands and tells Junior to pull his weight. Carter talks with Principal Garrison, and Principal tells how the school is so low in academic performance, and Coach wants to change that. He says, well, let's raise that. Let's not just give up on the kids. Principal doesn't have a lot of faith in Coach Carter's methods. The Richmond team got invited to play at the Golden Gate tournament, so that was really an honor that their team got to go to this big tournament. They had a great game. They ended up winning after playing their best. It was an amazing effort they all made. The crowd was ecstatic, so they were just crazy. Victory was theirs when Damien sank the ball in the final seconds. Carter was very proud of his son. So now the teammates are really starting to like Damien because at first they thought, well, he's just a freshman. Okay, so they were kind of mad, but now he's showing how awesome he is. So that's where we left off on chapter 7. So today we're going to read chapter 8. So please open Coach Carter to page 88. Page 88. Again, you are going to be thinking about making predictions. Tanya, I'm serious, Carter said into his cell phone from his room at the Holiday Inn later that night. They won the whole thing, 15-0. Damien was the MVP. Yeah, he said, chuckling. I'll wake him up. No, hold on. He should tell you. Carter walked down the hall to Damien's room and knocked softly. No answer. Calling his son's name, Carter walked into the room, but there was nothing but a litter of empty duffel bags. Damien wasn't there. None of the players were. Tanya? Carter said into the phone, I'll call you back. So Coach went down. They're at the tournament and at the hotel, and he went down and here Damien's not in his room. So I predict maybe Damien ran out with his buddies uptown or something and left the room. D. Carter, Lyle called across the room to Damien. He had just poured a healthy plug of vodka into a bottle of Mountain Dew, which he now flung across the room. Oh, sir, they didn't leave, but they're out drinking in their rooms. But Damien's reflexes were slow. Lyle had been feeding him vodka dew all night, and the bottle took out an elegant lamp. Damien blinked at his hands, confused, as the other players hooted with laughter. They were having a ball, chilling with the pretty girls at this fancy suburban party. This was the life. Damien, said the girl named Amber, who was snuggled tightly against his chest, are you drunk? Damien shook his head slowly. I don't drink, he said, slurring his words slightly. He fumbled at the lamp. Sorry about the thing. It's okay, Amber assured him. She stood up. Let's go swimming. Whoa, Lyle said as Susan, the hostess, led them to a pool and hot tub. It's December. Yeah, Worm agreed, and my people don't swim. Susan pushed a button and the solar cover slid off the steaming surface of the pool. Heated, it's probably 90 degrees. We don't have bathing suits, Damien pointed out. So are they going to go skinny dipping? Susan smiled. Neither do we, she said as she peeled off her top and shimmied out of her jeans. Amber and another girlfriend did the same and stood before the guys in their bras and underwear. Top of page 90. You gonna join us? Amber said. She and the other two jumped into the pool, splashing Lyle and Damien. Lyle stared at the girls bug-eyed. I think I saw this episode of 90210. Storming out of the hotel, Carter stood alone, unsure what to do. Nearby, a cabbie behind the wheel of a minivan lowered his window. "You looking for your team?" he called. So now you might predict that the cab driver, he kind of knew where he took all these kids maybe, so he's going to tell Coach Carter. A few moments later, the cab had pulled up in front of the manor. Music was thumping through the walls. Coach Carter walked up to the front of the house but hesitated at the door. What if his players weren't there? He didn't want to barge in on the wrong party. Carter moved to the window and tried to peep in just as a Mercedes pulled into the driveway and a well-dressed couple stepped out. "Can I help you?" the man asked warily as he walked toward the house. "Good evening, sir," Carter said, extending his hand. "My name's Ken Carter, coach of the Richmond Oilers basketball team. Top of 91. "Richmond?" the man said. "Little lost, aren't you?" "Well, sir, I'm looking for my son." Just then a laughing shriek sounded over the music, and the well-dressed man gaped at his house, as though he had just noticed the party going on inside. A moment later, Carter and the man walked through the front door and stopped dead. They had just interrupted a game of strip twister. The man led Carter to the backyard pool. "You see your son?" "Damian Carter!" the coach exploded. "Get out of this house! All Richmond players, outside!" Damian scrambled out of the pool and tried to yank on his jeans over his wet boxers as someone turned off the music. A few of the other players sulked out behind him. It was going to be a long night. So now you should be making predictions in your head. What do you think is going to happen to the boys? What penalty will maybe Coach Carter or the law come upon them for drinking and being at this party? "You should be dreading practice on Monday," Carter announced as the team bus rolled through the rain back toward Richmond. When they had returned to the hotel, the coach had announced that the team had to pack right away. They wouldn't be staying the night, after all. They had lost that privilege, and they were about to lose more. "You think you've run from me before? Leaving in the middle of the night like thieves? I go to your rooms to celebrate. What do I get? A trek through the suburbs to find my drunken point guard on top of some daddy's daughter." Worm looked sheepish, but finally he couldn't resist. "Actually, I was on the bottom." "Worm, do you want to be on this team?" Carter exploded. "Because you're about 6 more words away from being gone, Cruz. Open your eyes." Cruz forced his eyelids up. Carter scanned the players. "All of you," he said, his voice dripping with disgust. "You think you're big time, signing autographs? I will ship you all so far down the bench, they'll have to pump air to you." There was a moment of silence. Then Cruz piped up. "We won the tournament, coach," he said in a bored voice. "We're undefeated. Isn't that what you wanted? Winners?" He eyed Carter, who didn't reply. The coach wasn't sure what kind of monster he had created. So, yeah, maybe they're winners right now, but they're not being winners because they're not being good athletes or good people. Bottom of 92. Once they reached the school, Carter unlocked his office and flipped on the light. He had a lot of parents to call, so he's going to have to call because they were all drinking and running around. Looking at his desk, Carter spotted 2 large manila envelopes. Flipping through them, Carter realized what they were, the progress reports he had asked for. So all the teachers handed in their progress reports. Damian hovered in the doorway. Feeling his son's gaze, Carter looked up. "Young man, I have no interest in what you have to say." "Sir?" "You know I don't drink," Damian said sincerely. "Someone put vodka in my soda. I didn't know." So the team actually played a trick on Damian. How many of you think that Damian didn't know? Like, how could he not know that there's vodka in his soda? If you're too dumb to figure that out, then you're too dumb to leave the house for a month. You're grounded. "Sir," Damian pleaded. "You wanted me to trust you and let you go out?" Carter demanded. "And this is what happens? You betrayed my trust." "Dad." "Wait for me outside," Carter commanded. With a frustrated sigh, Damian left and Carter turned his attention back to the reports. He scanned the first page, frowning, quickly flipped through the next few pages. Finally, he stopped. He placed his palms together and rested his chin on his fingertips for a moment as he digested the results. So, top of page 94, this would give you a prediction or a result that he is not happy with the results of his teammates as he looks at their progress reports. So they might be winning, but they're not winning in school. And he said, student comes before athlete. Okay, page 94. Fury simmered through his veins, lighting him up. The progress reports, they were horrible. His players had lied to him, he had trusted them, and they had lied. Suddenly, his fury overwhelmed him, and Carter exploded. With a clean sweep of his arm, he cleared his desk of everything. The reports, the lamp, paper, pen, stapler, everything went flying. Standing, he threw his chair against the wall in rage. Finally, with nothing left to throw, he stood at the center of his office, breathing. The team was out of control. He just had to find a way to get through to them. So in my mind, the question I have is, I wonder, how is he going to get through to the team? Page 94. After the stars. Monday afternoon, Junior and Lyle swaggered down the hallway toward the gym. Cruz, Damien, and Kenyon were already standing there looking confused. "What's up, Cruz?" Junior asked. "Big D?" Cruz stepped aside, revealing a hand-lettered sign. "Practice canceled," the sign read. "Report to the library." A thick chain fastened with a padlock snaked through the door handles. Cruz shrugged. "Coach giving us the day off?" The teammates shuffled down the hall to the library. Probably not a day off, right? If they're not doing their work at school, they're going to the library to study, right? Carter scanned the players as they took their seats. The coach stood in front of a desk arranged with several neat stacks of paper. Mr. Giesick and two other teachers stood off to the side. Carter waited until the team had settled in, chatting and laughing, and then lashed out. "Quiet, please," he shouted. Then he held up a pile of papers. "Gentlemen, in this hand I hold contracts signed by me and signed by you." Carter reached for another tidy stack and held it out. "In this hand I hold academic reports prepared by your teachers. We have 6 players failing at least one class, 8 players facing incompletes based on attendance. Gentlemen, you have failed." The coach stopped, then corrected himself. "We have failed. We have failed each other. There are a few of you who have honored the contract. Understand that we are in a team, and until we all meet the requirements, the gym remains locked." "But coach," Kenyon protested, "I have a 3.3. That's good, son. Do you score every point for the team, too?" Carter scanned the group of boys. Top of 96. "You are the Richmond Oilers. Do you know what Oilers stands for? Only individuals learning every day reach success." The chair squeaked as Cruz stood up, then turned toward the door. "Sir," Carter called after him, "just know that you're not walking out on me." He motioned to the team. "You're walking out on them." Pausing, Cruz ran a glance over his teammates. "I had to beg you," he said, his voice a dangerous growl. "Then I ran all those sprints. I did all that." His voice began to rise. "I killed myself for you, sir, to get back on this team." Lashing out, Cruz flung a chair across the room. "This is bull!" He didn't say anything more as he stormed out of the library. There was nothing more to say. So we're on page 96 at the stars. So Cruz is walking out through a desk, so he's going to have some kind of penalties. So I predict that his coach is going to have to give him some kind of discipline. So what I want you to do now, we're going to read as a group. I'm going to pick individuals to read. We're at the bottom of 96, and I want you to either ask a question while you're reading, sometime while you're reading, or make your own prediction while you're reading, or before you're reading, during reading, after reading. And we're going to read through page 101. Let me exit out of this. So we're going to read to page 101 together. So I'm going to stop my video after we read through chapter 8 and you guys use some of prediction and asking questions strategies. Have some time to work on that too. I'm going to stop